Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Tuesday. It's Tutorial Tuesday, and today we're going to make a table lantern. You could also hang this lantern, but I'm doing a standing one. And we're going to be using this die, which is my vintage cabinet card die. So we're going to use that, and you're going to need to cut 4. Okay. I'm trying to make this as coherent as possible. You know what I'm like first thing in the morning. And the paper pads that I'm using are these because I'm just trying to use up my old stash. So one is the wildflower vellum, the other is the wildflower paper. Now, there's a reason that I'm using these, not just because I want to use them, because I've had them for a long time, but because the vellum matches the paper. Now, you can normally get these pads really, really cheap at Michael's, like $5 each with a coupon when they do them. So it's a really good buy, and I do like vintage floral papers. So let me show you exactly what I mean by that. Right, as I've just said, you're going to cut 4 of these. Don't throw away your inserts because they can be used again. If you cut plain ones of these, you can pop your flowery one or whatever pattern paper that you're using. And then you're going to cut yourself a template of paper, this one, and it measures 3 3/4 inches by 4.5 inches. So I'll just pop that there. And then you're going to need to cut yourself 4 strips of paper measuring 4.5 inches by 1/2 inch. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to score straight down the middle all the way down so that you'll be left when folded up with a 1/4 inch hinge on either side. So I will go away and do that in a minute. Right, I'm going to explain to you the reason why I decided on that pack, and that is because I wanted to match the paper into the vellum. Can you see that? I've matched the pattern up so that it's still all a whole image, except this bit is virtually, sort of opaque, transparent, so the light will come through it when I put my tea light in there. So I've already cut my pieces from my pack, but I need to die cut them. So I've gone with lots of flowers because I do like flowery stuff. Ooh, that looks blurred lying on top of there, doesn't it? But I'm going to be using the solid paper to cut the cabinet, and then I'll be piecing this behind. So those are the other ones that I've got to go away and cut. And you're going to need some narrow tape, and you're going to need some wider tape for your hinges. You're going to need a pair of scissors. I've got 2 on my desk. I've got my lovely Betty Crocker Dollar Tree. These are really good for $1, I have to say. And I've got my little snips in case I need them. And you're going to need some removable tape. I've got this stuff, had it for years. You can see I've had it for years. It's looking a bit dingy there. Maybe time to get some new stuff or use some washi tape, and you'll see in a minute why you're going to need that. And let me just show you the back of this one that I made, because the vellum was cut using the template that I've just told you you're going to need. So that will measure up perfectly so that you can fasten it down without any bits hanging out of the bottom there, so that all your measurements will be nice and correct for you. Right, I'm going to go away and I'm going to die cut and trim these, and I'll be right back. Right, I've done that, and what I have now is the other 3 of the solid frames, because I've already done that one, and it's a matter of matching up the vellum. You can see the R there on that parcel that will take you in a straight line. That is, of course, if you're choosing to use this kind of paper and do it this kind of way. Obviously, if you're doing a stamped image or something like that, then it's not so important. But once you've got it lined up like that, that's when you're going to use your double-sided tape and you're going to hold that in position. Now, this removable tape is not going to damage your project at all. And so you can see I've got that fastened down there and it's in the correct place for the rose, the buds. I can see that the writing is aligned, even though that bit is going to vanish. And what I need to do now is just turn it over like that and take my template and pop it on. And because it's transparent, I can look and I can see behind there that my template isn't sticking out anywhere where it shouldn't be sticking out. So I can then place it down, I can line it up, I can get some double-sided tape. I need to cut some more off the roll. I meant to cut 4 pieces and I only ended up cutting 2 because I can be forgetful like that. So cut some more tape and then that's lined up and that's lined up, and if I flip it back over now, you can see that everything is still in position, the C matches, everything is fine. I can now remove this tape, I can take away my frame, and then what I have left with is the cardstock that is stuck under there. I can flip it over and I just get my scissors and I can just cut that straight out, knowing that my piece of vellum, once I finish cutting it out, is going to match exactly with the image inside the frame. Right, so I'm going to cut out the others and I'll be straight back. Right, so having used that template and cutting out my piece of vellum, I popped the vellum behind and I fastened it with 2 pieces of that removable sticky tape again. I can flip it over, it's held in position on the front, and I can see where I need to put my sticky tape. Now I'm going to stand up because you know me and my camera, and I can now just hold that down and I can lift it up and I can see right along the edge there, and it's on, whoops, she says untangling the tape, it's right on the edge of that vellum where I'm going to need to go. Now this is quite strong stuff, I mean don't bend it and crease it, but you can certainly do this to it, and I've torn that off. And now I can rip a side off, and this makes it just easier to position and pop that down, and that side is now stuck into position, which means I can now lift these because it's held there now by a good piece of strong tape. Now I'm going to do this with the other sides, which are these. I'm going to pop my tape down, stick it down, I'll come straight back. Okay, so I've cut all of my vellum panels to match the solid cardstock on the outside. As you can see, I just matched up all of the lines and all of the writing, and it's really quite easy to do. Obviously, if you're going to use a stamp or something like that, then you don't need to do any of this. You just need the size of your template, just pop it underneath, stamp your image and colour, and just stick it on, because you can stamp and colour on vellum as well, and you can also do acetate and paint behind the window, or use some of those, I'm trying to think of the name of the brand, is it Pebio or Pebio, and they do glass paints like that you can paint onto acetate to look like stained glass window, and they come in little bottles, and I think you get them from Michael's. I'm pretty sure it's PBO or Pebio, and it's a bit like applying stickles where you can just pipe it onto the surface and then flood the areas. So you could do a little stained glass creation as well. So now that I've done these, and as you can see, I'll do you a close-up, see all of the stems and everything, they just match. And that's why I wanted to do this, because I do love flowers and I will be using this. We get a lot of power outages here in Florida, so you know, a little tea light on the table is always a welcome thing. Right, now the 4 strips that connect that I told you, they're 4.5 inches by 1/2 inch. I now need to score these straight down the middle, and I will be back. Okay, so I've scored my 4 strips straight down the middle, and I've applied double-sided tape. Now we need to get our panels and flip them over, and we're just going to apply straight at this top point here, so that makes it nice and easy. And we're going to marry it up to that edge. I'm trying to get this as straight as I can, and we're going to stick that straight down onto there. I hope my hands weren't in the way. And then I'm going to peel off this one, and I'm going to line it up. I think I'll have this one as the next one. So I'm lining up my panels. In fact, it's probably better for me to do it that way. Just get them nice and straight and stick it down. I've just used the offcuts of paper that I had left over. Right, now I'm going to do exactly the same thing for these 2, and I'll be straight back to stick the last one. Okay, so I've stuck all of those together, and the only one left to do is that one to that one, and the lantern will be complete. So I'm just going to peel this off, and then we need to get this nice and straight. Now I know that you can put this down flat and do it, but you know, sometimes I just like to feel and eyeball it. There we go. So now you've got a lantern. I'm actually going to lift the camera so that you can hopefully see a little bit better. That's what it looks like, and it will of course stand up, and you can put your candle or your tea light in there. You can just bend it into shape so that it's got nice crisp folds on it, so that it stands up a lot nicer. But isn't that pretty? I don't know, I haven't got a tea light. I mean, I've got a torch, but I don't think that'll work, does it? I've got it on flash at the moment. Yes, I've got a flashing lantern, but I think you can see that if you put your tea light behind there, that section is going to glow for you. Oh, I just think that's hilarious. I'll tell my husband, I couldn't find the tea lights I got from Dollar Tree, so I used your flashing torch. This is usually what we use in the garden when one of our dogs decides they're vanishing for the night and we have to go searching. And as soon as we put the flashing torch on, they come running. Anyway, so whether you decide to use vellum or you stamp on some acetate or some vellum, that craft die does make an absolutely gorgeous lantern. And if you use a hole punch and you punch in the center here, and do it to all four, you can pop your ribbon in and loop it, and you can have a hanging lantern. So if you've got like those nice little round solar lights that you can get, they're sort of like about that big and they hang like balls, then you'd be able to loop your ribbon or your string, whatever you've used, and have a little solar lantern hanging in there. But when we get a power outage, this is nice. It folds flat, great for gifting. But I can just put this in my bedside drawer with my tea light, not the flashing torch. And when the power goes out, I've got something really pretty to look at night time. Right. I hope you enjoyed that. If you need any other help regarding that tutorial, because I know I can be all over the place sometimes, then just leave me a message below. But the link will be below for this one, and I do appreciate that you sit with me for so long and you watch my tutorials and that you watch my videos in general. I just think you're all awesome and I love your feedback. So I will see you tomorrow, and I'm up tomorrow with a KS Craft design team haul, so I will see you then. Bye.